half a score of gaunt, dishevelled young fellows in dirty smocks and with tipsy faces were incessantly galloping about at the wooden levers which jammed down the square blocks of the press, and in that manner, by the weight of their puny bodies, printed the mothly hued patterns of the wallpapers. The wing on the right stood empty and was for rent. One day, 3 weeks after the 9th of May, the shutters on the windows of this wing were opened, and women's faces made their appearance in them. Some family or other had moved into it. I remember how, that same day at dinner, my mother inquired of the butler who our new neighbours were, and on hearing the name of Princess Zasyaikin, said at first, not without some respect, "Ah, a princess!" And then she added, "She must be some poor person." "They came in 3 hired carriages, ma'am," remarked the butler, as he respectfully presented a dish. "They have no carriage of their own, ma'am, and their furniture is of the very plainest sort." "Yes," returned my mother, "and nevertheless it is better so." My father shot a cold glance at her. She subsided into silence. As a matter of fact, Princess Zasyaikin could not be a wealthy woman. The wing she had hired was so old and tiny and low-roofed that people in the least well-to-do would not have been willing to inhabit it. However, I let this go in at one ear and out the other. The princely title had little effect on me. I had recently been reading Schiller's The Brigands. Chapter 2. I had a habit of prowling about our garden every evening, gun in hand, and standing guard against the crows. I had long cherished a hatred for those wary, rapacious and crafty birds. On the day of which I have been speaking, I went into the garden as usual, and after having fruitlessly made the round of all the alleys, the crows recognised me from afar and merely crawled spasmodically at a distance. I accidentally approached the low fence which separated our territory from the narrow strip of garden extending beyond the right-hand wing, and appertaining to it. I was walking along with drooping head. Suddenly I heard voices. I glanced over the fence and was petrified. A strange spectacle presented itself to me. A few paces distant from me, on a grass plot between green raspberry bushes, stood a tall, graceful young girl in a striped pink frock and with a white kerchief on her head. Around her pressed 4 young men, and she was tapping them in turn on the brow with those small grey flowers, the name of which I do not know, but which are familiar to children. These little flowers form tiny sacs and burst with a pop when they are struck against anything hard. The young men offered their foreheads to her so willingly, and in the girl's movements, I saw her form in profile, there was something so bewitching, caressing, mocking and charming, that I almost cried aloud in wonder and pleasure. And I believe I would have given everything in the world if those lovely little fingers had only consented to tap me on the brow. My gun slid down on the grass. I forgot everything. I devoured with my eyes that slender waist and the neck and the beautiful arms, and the slightly ruffled hair, the intelligent eyes and those lashes, and the delicate cheek beneath them. "Young man! Hey there, young man!" suddenly spoke up a voice near me. "Is it permissible to stare like that at strange young ladies?" I trembled all over. I was stupefied. Beside me, on the other side of the fence, stood a man with closely clipped black hair, gazing ironically at me. At the same moment, the young girl turned toward me. I beheld huge grey eyes in a mobile, animated face, and this whole face suddenly began to quiver and to laugh, and the white teeth gleamed from it. The brows elevated themselves in an amusing way. I flushed, picked up my gun from the ground, and pursued by ringing but not malicious laughter. I ran to my own room, flung myself on the bed, and covered my face with my hands. My heart was fairly leaping within me. I felt very much ashamed and very merry. I experienced an unprecedented emotion.